welcome back to the channel. I just finished thoroughly cleaning the barrel on my SIG Cross here, and it's very important to thoroughly clean a barrel before switching to shooting copper projectiles. And the project I got going on this week is the 150 grain Barnes TTSX. So I've actually got 20 pieces of Barnes brass here that I got a while ago shooting some factory ammo. They're primed with some Remington 9.5 primers, and we're going to try it on top of some Varget to start out with. Conveniently, Barnes has low data for their 150 TTSX on their website, and all of this is extremely relevant since we're using Barnes bullets and Barnes brass. So their max charge of Varget here is 46.3, and we can take note that the cartridge overall length they're suggesting for this is 2.73, and the TTSX is 2.81, so we've got a bit of a range there to work with. So the Barnes max is 46.3. The Hodgdon website says 46.5 max, and the Hornady book says 44.9 max. Now, the Hornady book has always been very conservative with their max charges in my experience. So what I want to do first, because the Barnes max of 46.3 says it's going to be a compressed charge, and the Hodgdon max is 46.5, I see myself having some compressed load problems here, so before we write down the charges we're going to use, I want to load 46.3 and 46.5 and just see how much of the case it takes up. Alright, there's 46.3. Should be interesting because I've never used Barnes brass before, so I have no idea what the case capacity is like. Alright, so that's interesting. I don't know where this whole bullet's supposed to go. I don't know, should I just try seating it? Or is that stupid? Maybe I'll just try it. Alright, so Barnes brass, Barnes bullet, Barnes data, they've got to know what they're talking about, right? Guess we'll just try it. Alright, well there's 2.80, and I didn't hear a ton of crunching. There's a little bit of a ring there. So maybe that will work. Let's try one more. Alright, here goes at full seat with 46.3. Interesting. Wasn't really any crunch. I don't know how the heck that works, but it does. 28.0. Alright, let's see if these will chamber. Let's put the safety on. Yep, no problem. Alright, so there we are, 7 charges, 44.5 to 46.3 in 3 grain increments. The first group is going to be 2, and the rest will be 3 because I only got 20 pieces of brass. So I'm going to finish seating the rest of these, and if anything interesting happens, I'll turn the camera back on, but if not, I'll see you at the range. I'll tell you what, I was not expecting the 150 Barnes TTSX to shoot this good. All these groups were basically 3/4 inch or smaller, We got a 0.75 here, 0.85, 0.6, 0.55, and 2.45s as the velocities got higher. So the groups are getting better, the velocities are getting higher. We ended up here at 2768 on this 0.45 inch group where two of them were touching and there was the one flyer. So I was going to do a part 2 of this video, but this is exciting. Got the motivation rolling. I'm going to load up a couple more charges higher than that, get to 2800 and finalize this load. So this here is awesome, and I don't want to change it very much, so we're going to do some slight tweaks. I'm going to probably bump the cartridge overall length up from 2.80 to 2.81, and if you remember, we were shooting 46.3 grains last, so I'm going to shoot two 5-shot groups of 46.4 and 46.5, hopefully get closer to the 2800 FPS mark. And that will leave us with 20 of these Barnes bullets left to go in our 20 pieces of brass and in this 20 round case for future use. Really gotta tap these grains down as much as possible, and then not too much crunching going on. And seat them to 2.9, 2.809, 2.81. All right, so pretty successful. We had this 1/2 inch and these sub-1/2 inch groups here, and we moved up in charge weight and we went to 5-shot groups, so obviously they're going to be bigger. And we shot 46.4 and 46.5. Both of them went over 2,800 feet per second. This one, 0.9 inch, this was the cold bore beginning of the day. And then the second group here was 5-shot group, so 4 shots went into 0.45, just like these last two groups. And then I had one flyer there. Maybe that was me, maybe it wasn't. But if we just look at all of these together, 0.45, 0.45, 0.45 minus the flyer, this looks really good. We hit 2,800 feet per second. The sample size here is saying this will shoot 0.45 inch groups and maybe a flyer here and there. So I'm totally happy with that. Stoked on it. So I loaded the rest of these 20, and there they are. These ought to be able to take pretty much anything on the continent. So thanks for sticking around and watching the video. If it's things like this or anything outdoors, hunting, fishing is up your alley, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.